road. We have an opportunity to change things around, an opportunity to change things, an opportunity to make Dominica strong. We have an opportunity to change things around, an opportunity to change things, an opportunity to make Dominica strong. We got to stamp out the devil, stamp them out, stamp out evil. Jealousy, not by me, certainly. We got to stamp out greediness, stamp them out, stamp out wickedness. Jealousy, not by me, certainly. Tomorrow is the first day. The rest of our lives, let's make tomorrow the first day of the rest of our life. We have an opportunity to change things around, an opportunity to change things, an opportunity to make our country strong. Change, change. I remember the love and unity that we once shared. Starting from the home, the children would be prepared. Food there was a daily part of our living. This society would be part of our children upbringing. We used to eat everything we grow and grow everything we eat. But smiling faces would glow and the people were real discreet. We need to go back to where we were. Otherwise we'll witness things we never seen before. We have an opportunity to change things around, an opportunity to change things, an opportunity to make Dominica strong. We have an opportunity to change things around, an opportunity to change things, an opportunity to make Dominica strong. We got to stamp out the ugly, stamp them out, stamp out cruelty, jealousy, not by we, certainly. We got to fight hypocrisy, or conspiracy, jealousy, not by we, certainly. Tomorrow is the first day. The rest of our lives, let's make tomorrow the first day of the rest of our lives. We have an opportunity to change things around, an opportunity to change things, an opportunity to make our country strong. Change, change. Grandma used to say that laziness is a real crime. It captivates your body, then retards your mind. As a people, we have to change this old attitude and give our country all the love we really should. Instead, we sit and we criticize, where we say let's now analyze and give young people no scope in difficult times just how to cope. It's us to build them the foundation in order to build a stronger, vibrant nation. We have an opportunity to change things around, an opportunity to change things.
Yes, indeed. An opportunity to change things around, an opportunity to make our country strong, and by extension, our region. Folks, welcome. It is already 5 minutes past 6 o'clock. We always give thanks to this young lady, Joy Stout, for penning this song and doing this song. We normally use this song at the beginning of each and every program. Such inspiring number indeed. It is already the 8th day of September 2024, and welcome to that space, Civic Vibes. This is your favorite program each and every Sunday from just about that time. And so we always indeed truly acknowledge you and cherish your presence here each and every Sunday from just about the 6 o'clock hour. This evening's program going to be one very interesting one, I must add. And so please make yourself very comfortable at this time, because when we start, then it will be getting so interesting by the minutes, you wouldn't be able to leave your seats indeed. Your responsibility is to share that live information, make someone know that that program is on, and so they too can partake and participate of what is about to be dispensed here this evening. This evening, we are going to talk to a very important gentleman, the CEO, that is, of MSR Media International, Mr. Philip Martinez. We in Dominica, for sure, have been reading and hearing a lot of Mr. Martinez of late and his company, and especially where that RICO case that was filed sometime back in the US court is concerned, federal court that is concerned. And so we're going to hear much more, know much more, bring some much more awareness to us in Dominica with the man, Mr. Martinez himself. So please, we ask you at this time to make yourself, as I said, very comfortable, and please be prepared to participate sometime later when we open up those lines. Without saying much more for now, let me move across to Alvin Thomas so that he can say his hi and hello before we get things going here. Good evening, Alvin. How are you?
Yes, good evening, Lofty. Again, a pleasant good evening to you and to our guest this evening, Mr. Martinez, Philip Martinez. I hope you guys are doing well. As I understand it, Lofty, you've been having some rain in Dominica, is that correct? Or the weather is nice?
Some sort of intermittent showers, yes, but that is expected. We're in the season.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I'm doing fine at my end here. We still have some pretty warm weather in Atlanta, almost in the 90s today, so that's still hot, given we are soon approaching fall. But yeah, we're doing great. Everything is fine. I see that our folks have already logged in, and like you said, it's going to be a very interesting conversation this afternoon. I think, as they say, when one sneezes in one particular territory, we all catches a cold in the region. So I believe that discussion that we'll be having as it relates to the CBI program, or CPI, CIP as they refer to it, in some jurisdiction will be of significant interest to us in Dominica. So I'm looking forward myself to the conversation with Mr. Martinez and hopefully to learn a little more from him. So folks, sit back, grab your cup of coffee, your drink, whatever it is, and let's have a very interesting conversation.
Yes, indeed. Alvin, thank you very much for your opening remarks and your opening salvo, as it were. Those of you in St. Lucia are listening and looking on at this time, thank you very much for your eyes and ears in St. Kitts and Nevis as well, and basically the region, and even those of you further afield. Thank you very, very much indeed. Folks, without saying much more, let me move across to Mr. Philip Martinez and say a special good evening to you, sir. How are you? And welcome to Civic Vibes.
Thank you for having me, Lofty, and thank you for your invitation. And nice to meet you, and nice to meet Mr. Alvin Thomas.
Indeed, and let me welcome you again, Mr. Martinez, to that is the Civic Vibe Space. That is an educational program that we do here each and every Sunday, basically to help inform, help educate, help spread the word in terms of what the people out there really need to hear. And so when Alvin read, when we in Dominica read about you, your company, especially that case, we really, were yearning for more. And so I did what I had to do in terms of, searching for you, and voila, I got a hold of you and we spoke and you agreed to come on. And so on that behalf, I want to thank you for coming on this afternoon to at least give us in Dominica and the region much more in terms of making, known some facts as it relates to what you guys are about at MSR, and also the man, Mr. Martinez. Mm-hmm. More importantly as well, that much talked about case, that RICO case as it is called.
Yeah. Well, listen, to give you a little bit of a historic, yes, very quickly, we arrived on the island of Nevis during the COVID because we produce 4 movies a year, American movies, and we were looking for a place where we could shoot that had very little case of COVID. So I spoke to the premier of Nevis, Mark Brantley, and when those guys get calls from people to say, hey, we'd like to come to shoot a movie, 99% of the case, it's never happening. But he told us that we could come, and 2 weeks later we arrived. 6 weeks later we started to shoot a film, and we did another one right away because it's a beautiful island, Nevis. And then when COVID was fading out, we were living. And at that time, the prime minister at the time, who was Timothy Harris, and the head of the program, CBI program, Les Kahn and Mark Brantley, told us, hey, we want you to stay because you're creating a lot of jobs. You know, we created like 100 jobs, and we pay the people well. You know, we were paying our average staff, local staff, in average $700 to $800 US per week. So that was way above the minimum wage. And more important than the money, we taught them a new industry. We created the film industry. We taught them jobs that they've never done before, and that they did very well, I must say. So they mentioned about that CBI program, which we knew nothing about. And they say, we'd like to make you a participant so that you can recoup some of the cost of your film through the CBI, right? And that's how it started. We got approved. And I'd like to say that the difference between us and other promoters, because we've produced 10 movies in St. Kitts and Nevis. Then the new prime minister asked me to buy a hotel, which we did, to turn it into the headquarters of the film industry in St. Kitts and Nevis. So unlike other investors, we invested our money before, and we looked at the CBI to recoup our investment and make some money, of course. That's very different than the other CBI promoters who normally get a huge amount of share of Passport that they go sell before they even spend any money on any project, which is why you have in St. Kitts and Nevis so many real estate projects abandoned for years, and nothing happened with it. So that's how the whole thing started.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Brother Martinez, for giving us sort of a historical perspective as to how and where things started indeed. In terms of the case that your company filed, basically saying that some actors in the passport business in St. Lucia, that is, and St. Kitts and Nevis, why did you go that route in terms of the RICO laws in America?
But I tell you why. Because shortly after we were approved as a CBI company in St. Kitts, we conducted due diligence. Our movies and our hotel was funded by big American investment company. And before we go out and sell those units, those passports, the share passport, whatever you want to call it, we did some due diligence. And very, very quickly, I must say, we discovered an entire illegal market where actors towards the Caribbean, everywhere, in St. Kitts and Nevis, in St. Lucia, in Dominica, in Grenada, were selling the passport way under the legal price. So I sat down at the time with my lawyers, with the head of the program, who's Mr. Kahn, Les Kahn, and he told me, yeah, that's what we do, because the Chinese were competing with Dominica. He kept referring about competing with MMC, which is a company that operates in your country, Montreal Management. And he said, they're breaking the price, so we're allowing the Chinese to do what they want. And I said, but you're breaking the law in your own country. And he said, well, yeah, but that's the way to do it, okay? So what really intrigued me is how they could pretend that they're selling a real estate project at $200,000 and provide a certificate that $200,000 came into the account where in fact the client only paid $100,000. You see what I'm saying? And he explained us how they do it, which is to run the money around. And in America, it's called money laundering. So we recorded this conversation with Les Khan, and when the new Prime Minister Terence Drew was elected, we met with him and offered him to look at our evidence. And we spent basically a year where the Prime Minister of St. Kitts told us that he was going to reform the program, which he did. I give him credit to that. But nobody wanted to review our evidence of fraud, money laundering, and corruption. And I think we must have attempted at least 9 times to do so. We even attempted to file criminal charges when we meant to meet the Attorney General at his office with my partners. But nobody wanted to see the evidence. At some point, this is a regional market. If I have to sell my unit at $250,000 plus government fee, I'm at basically $300,000 for one person. And if in the same country, Galaxy is allowed to sell the same product, it's the same product, people are buying a passport, for $80,000, then it's impossible for me to sell unless, and I think that's what they were expecting, that I would do like them, except that I refused. I refused to do what, let's not beat around the bushes, what 90% of the people have done in the marketplace.
Yeah. So in a nutshell, what I'm understanding from you, Mr. Martinez, tell me if I'm right or wrong.
Yeah.
Your qualm, your issue is the situation that some actors in the industry, they are basically short-circuiting the process by selling these passports, these documents way under the value price, thereby having some persons like yourself and others be at a disadvantaged level.
But it's more than that. The fraud, because people need to understand what the fraud is about, right? Mm-hmm. The number one fraud, okay, is that those governments give to those bad actors, those bad promoters. In the case of St. Lucia and St. Kitts, it's Galaxy. They give them an incredible, astonishing amount of passports, right? That has no relationship to the cost of the project that they're building. In St. Kitts, they wanted to build a jail, which was going to cost $40 million, but they gave to Galaxy 5,500 units or share, which is 22,000 passports, worth $1 billion. And in St. Lucia, for instance, the Canal Resort, the former government led by Alan Chastenay gave Galaxy 700 passports for the hotel. And when the new government arrived, they increased that number to 6,000, right? And then they gave them an additional 7,000 file for a newly created infrastructure project. So the first, you have the first element, which is that those people sell the passport of your country at a price under the legal price. So they're breaking the law in your country, right? But I've learned that nothing is going to happen about that. Nobody wants to hear about that. Nobody wants to know about that. And that is done, and we've made a 2 years investigation involving 15 people. That is done with the complicity or the partnership of a lot of people, big lawyers, processing agent, banks, and everybody has closed their eyes to that illegal practices of selling under the legal price. So that's the first element of the fraud. The second element of the fraud is the amount of passport that are being given to those promoters that have no relationship. Now, they're very good at finding excuses that this thing is going to cost more, so we're going to give more. It's all crap. You know, it's all for flooding the market, and they're calling that, you know, the race to the bottom. Okay. The third element that has infiltrated the CBI industry in the Caribbean is the corruption. Pure, simple, clean corruption. The one thing that all these beautiful and smart and educated politicians and lawyers have forgot is that they're selling those citizenship in US dollar. And when you sell those citizenship, at some point, the money, whether it comes from Chinese buyer or Middle East buyer, it goes through the American banking system. So when you guys were selling in Dominica your citizenship, right, at some stage, for the money to come to Dominica, it went through Bank of America, right? Now, that means that the banks have failed also to do their compliance, the bank in Asia and the bank in the Middle East. And we'll come back to that later, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure.
But, you know, and that circle of money where an illegal transaction end up going through the banking system before it comes to you or to St. Lucia or to St. Kitts or to Grenada, I'm sorry, but nobody have thought about it, but it's called money laundering. And after a year of trying to convince the St. Kitts authority to open an investigation into this fraud, I contacted the US authorities, and I went to the US and I provided them all the evidence of the fraud and the money laundering and the corruption, everything. After that, we decided to prepare a RICO lawsuit, because at least in the US, we know that, you know, their influence of these people cannot touch us. At least, believe me, we know that they went to the State Department, and right now some of them are claiming diplomatic immunity, right? But we're looking at it as a crime that has been committed, and by the way, and we're going to come back to that later if you don't mind. It's a fraud that we are victim of, right? Obviously, because the only way that we could recoup our investment will be to be part of the fraud ourselves and to break the law and to do their money laundering scheme, right? And I'm not prepared to do that, and I was not prepared to do that, right? Which is a hard position to take, because, you know, like I said, that's what 90% of the people in the industry have done, okay? So that's how the RICO case came. But then, you know, because I spent 3 years in the Caribbean, and because you have, how would I say, you care for the people that you gave a job, the people that work very hard on making films, and suddenly you're telling them, guys, we have to stop until this matter is handled. So we wanted accountability, because what people forget, right, is the way they design those contracts, the governments, they basically give everything away to the promoters, right? So in numbers that are insane, right? So the money all the country gets is how would I say that? A government fee, which is important, right? But compare to what you should have got, it's nothing. Compared to the jobs, to the infrastructure that those countries should have benefited, it's nothing. So accountability is very important. So in order to do that, in order to create accountability, we also filed a judicial review, which is a lawsuit against the current government in St. Kitts, where we said that we demand that all the passports for the jail project that have been sold under the legal price should be revoked, right? I don't get no benefit to that. I don't get a dime if I win that case, but it's about accountability, right? And where the issue of why in the US, let me give you a short example, because we have invited all the government officials to come to Washington, D.C. and to review our evidence, right? And they declined. And I know now why they declined, by the way, right? Because we were very comfortable. We have all the evidence since January 2023. We have every step of the fraud fully documented with evidence, right? So in the judicial review, we basically are suing the Prime Minister of St. Kitts in his capacity as Minister of Immigration or whatever, where we demand that he revoke the passport sold illegally under the legal price. So in a way, we're trying to ask him to enforce the law in his country, right? And I insist, there is no benefit financial for us to do that, right? It's just to create accountability. So their reply in court was that we don't have the evidence, that we don't have anything to support our case. So they tried to dismiss the case in St. Kitts, right? And of course, we provided to the court 185 contracts of citizenship with the invoice of each person of how much they really paid. And they paid half the price, right? Or half of the legal price. And now that we've provided the evidence, the government is saying, we still want to dismiss the case. So these people know what they've done. If you have seen our RICO case, we have even included the WhatsApp messages of the current Attorney General of St. Kitts and Nevis, Garth Wilkin, where he admits the fraud, explains how much it was sold, and he calls it a good scam. This is not me saying it, it's him writing it, right? To former Minister of Agriculture, Dwyer Estefan. Of course, he didn't expect that I will end up having those messages. So that's the second thing that we've done, which is the judicial review, which the court in St. Kitts, I was surprised to see that they want a trial. They want this to go to trial. But these people are very cynical. they don't really care. They care about the time, because the time that passes, weeks, months, years, they have collected the money in the meantime. You see what I'm saying? And so there is a cynicism to play on time. So we then decided to move to something that's much more hard, which is to attack the bank, because the bank, they know what they've done. One big thing that happened at the end of 2023 is that when we came out and accused certain politicians that we've named, and the head of the program and that Chinese company to run an illegal scheme and that involved money laundering and corruption, they have attacked us for defamation, right? And when we told our US lawyer that I was sued in St. Kitts for defamation, they were actually thrilled. They say, how could they make such a mistake? Because we've created a legal precedent in the Caribbean, which is very important. To defend ourselves, we filed what's called a Section 1782 in America, which has allowed us, we went to a judge, and the judge granted that order, to subpoena all the US banks for which the money came through.
Yes.
To get the transaction of these people, all of them, the politician, and we won. Of course, when they found out about it, they tried to interject, and then they got at some stage to stop us, but then we won again. And finally, we received all the bank transactions. So I am in possession, and so is my lawyer in Washington and my lawyers in St. Kitts, of every single bank transaction of these individuals, companies, and politicians, which they would have never, ever, ever expected that this could be possible. And unfortunately, when you see those bank transactions, we've issued a press release not too long ago, because in the context of the defamation lawsuit, to prove the corruption of especially of the head of the program, Mr. Khan, was not the head of the Chinese company Galaxy when he left St. Kitts, we showed that he received $13.5 million US. $13.5 million. And we show that Galaxy paid him while he was the head of the program. That's corruption. You can bim, bam, boom, turn around. It's corruption, right? And he's a US citizen, by the way, Mr. Khan. So we also find out that in order to speed up the application, Galaxy created a due diligence company owned by their vice president. So can you imagine? So the reality, gentlemen, is that I'm not the guy that has created this atomic bomb in the Caribbean. All the politicians have allowed this to happen.
You call it, sir, an atomic bomb situation?
But, when you have thousands and thousands of passports, okay, sold, where the initial due diligence is done by a company owned by the promoter, who is a Chinese company, where you have billions of dollars that are processed through US bank, which are reflecting non-legal transaction, when you have corruption of politicians, I think it's an atomic bomb. The problem is when we ask them to have a dialogue with us, to find middle ground. They didn't want to look at the evidence. The only person that has contacted us to look at the evidence, right, is the leader of the opposition in St. Lucia, Alan Chastenay. And he came to see us, a week ago, 10 days ago, to Washington, D.C., because obviously he's quite concerned about the situation of his country. And I have to tell you, I'm only authorized to tell you 50% of how bad this problem is. 50%, I reserve the right not to say it, and people will understand why in the months to come. But Mr. Chastenay had access to almost 100% of the problems. And he was more than concerned for the repercussion on the country. And I did got I was contacted also by a gentleman from Dominica that also wanted to come to Washington, D.C. With his lawyer to bring us some evidence about Dominica and to look at our evidence. But I've asked him to delay that until October, because I first wanted to focus on amending the RICO lawsuit, because we were going to be naming some new defendant. Because now that we have seen I mean, where all the money went, right, and who got the money, I mean, obviously, there are routes that we didn't expect. I mean, these people have been pretty good at hiding their money, I must tell you. But we've been pretty good at hunting them. So what's very frustrating and very annoying is the cynicism. Lisa Joseph, the reporter of DBS television, asked the current minister in charge of the passport, how many passports, because I've said it, they gave 13,000 files, which is 50,000 more passport to Galaxy, right? Which the people didn't know. Nobody in St. Lucia had any idea what was going on. I'm the one that broke the news, right? And he said that he cannot confirm because he needs the authorization of Galaxy to tell them, to tell the press how many passports he gave them. A minister of the country needs to have the approval of the Chinese to tell the citizen of his country how many passports he has allocated them for their project. But that's okay, because I know how much it is. We have the evidence. And I also know why they didn't want to come to Washington to review our evidence, because once I came out and exposed them, their ambition was to process those files as soon as possible. So I can tell you that as of today, right, I have evidence written from St. Lucia, from the CIP, that out of those 13,000, 11,500 have been already sent and received application to the CIP. So it's not 1.2 billion that Galaxy should be accounting for to the people of St. Lucia, but it's $2 billion US. You know, it's a lot of money.
A lot of money indeed.
So it's very unfortunate that those politicians are hiding. I told the Prime Minister of St. Kitts, I said, come on, man. You go to the parliament and you say that you're going to revoke the passport that have been sold illegally. I have provided you in court 185. You can make an example right now with those 185 passports and revoke them. And then you tell the 22,000 other people that bought the passport for the jail project that they have 3 months to pay the difference to the treasury. Otherwise, they lose the passport. And you will see how quickly the people will pay because they want to keep their passport, right? They don't want to do it.
True.
But dancing.
Indeed. All right, Mr. Martinez, we are gripped. Thank you very much for the information thus far.
Yeah.
Folks, it is already quarter to the hour of 7 o'clock. We're talking to Mr. Philip Martinez of MSR Media, just in case you're tuning in at this time. Brother Alvin Thomas, there are much more questions coming my way to you, Mr. Martinez, but let me let Mr. Alvin Thomas chime in here.
Yes, thank you, Lofty. And thank you again, Mr. Martinez, for bringing that to light. You've given us a mouthful. You've given us a mouthful, but we appreciate. Let me ask a couple quick questions before I make a comment. Well, let me make a comment first. Let me just say to you that it is fortunate that someone like yourself can bring to light what was going on with the CPI program, the CBI program in St. Kitts and St. Lucia.
Everywhere.
And I'm coming to that. I would say we have the same problem in Dominica, a lack of transparency and accountability for the program. And most times when we speak about the program, the government in particular has a position saying that we are anti-development, we are anti the program, and a host of other things they say about the program. Lest they forget that that program started initially. The CBI, well, the name, the nomenclature changed a bit, but it started off under the Freedom Party government. And it was never a program like that. That was never the intention. So what we want about the program, like you said, is to have accountability and transparency. Citizenship is a huge deal for any of the islands in the region, a huge deal to give citizenship. And to be selling our citizens undervalue in the manner in which we are selling it is outrageous. The UK government and the EU have problems with the program. So it's not just you. To the extent where the EU made certain recommendations and insisted on a certain manner in which the program should be run just a few months ago, indicated at what price, as a minimum, this program should be sold at. So I'm saying all of that to say that your revelation does not come as a surprise. What I think happens is that you are the bold man to challenge this matter legally. And that is what we have not been able to do in the region. In Dominica's case, for example, we have not been able, no one has been able to come forward and say, you know what, I think you're wrong. And as such, I'm going to challenge this matter in the court of law. Well, and I think that is where I commend you. But let me just ask very quickly.
Yeah.
In terms of the defendants, you mentioned the Attorney General in St. Kitts. Notice the Attorney General is not listed as a defendant to the lawsuit.
As of
why?
As of now, not. But on the first week of November, we're going to file an amended lawsuit. And who knows?
Okay. The other question that I want to ask.
But it's to be honest with you, it's very difficult to put an attorney general as a defendant. But the fact that he knew, the fact that he didn't investigate, the fact, and we have evidence that he knew, the fact that they are criticizing the former administration to do that absolute illegal contract, but they have processed a lot of those applications themselves, right?
Right.
So there are talks among ourselves to include them as conspirators. So they won't have to be sued, but their role in the conspiracy will be clearly outlined in covering up the fraud. Because, look, we talk to the US authority on a regular basis. We have provided the information regarding national security breach to a very important diplomat of in Europe, okay? because, when you have a Chinese company owned by the vice president of the promoter, that's a security breach. Okay. So now what you see, well, you in Dominica, you have started to already have the consequences of what's going on, what I'm denouncing. Bank of America is not allowing you guys to process CBI transaction, right? So my question to you is why? If what I'm saying is wrong, okay, if what I'm accusing everybody is wrong, then why did Bank of America stop your country to receive and send CBI money?
Yeah, no, you're right. That's a valid observation. That's a very valid observation.
And I have to tell you, the other countries, now that Bank of America has given us the information, well, and see our press release, they know what's going on now. The other country, instead of being smart, right, and to sit at the table and with the bank and us and work out a situation where everybody could make money, right? Because I tell you honestly, ultimately I don't want 22,000 passports in St. Kitts to be revoked. That's not my goal. My goal is for the Chinese and the guys in the Middle Eastern that pay under the legal price, that they're being given a choice. You've got 3 months to pay the balance, right? Otherwise, you lose your passport. Now, if they pay the balance, that's $500 million that could come into the economy of St. Kitts at the time where they have no money. Now, who in their right mind wouldn't want to do that, right? But their philosophy, right, the political leader of the region, is to show the EU and the US that now they're nice, they've learned their mistake, and they all have a new memorandum of understanding. They're all going to have the same price. I have news for you. Despite the fact that the MOU was signed, the bad actors are still selling right now under the legal price, right now. And I've informed the Prime Minister of St. Kitts about it on Friday. So they think that basically what everybody would like is to say, we're going to be good for now, but let's not investigate the fraud that went down for a decade. And let's not look where the money went. Basically, let's forget the crime, right? Your country has learned recently, you guys lost the UK visa, right? Free visa access.
Yes, yes, we did lose that privilege.
Yeah, and you lost Bank of America. Mark my words, Bank of America is now fully aware that corruption money went through their US banking system, right? And Bank of America, they are going to start to worry about implication from the US regulator on them. You will see that we can expect a move from Bank of America. I wouldn't be surprised if those moves are going to be massive and in a very short amount of time in relation to the CBI, right?
So let me ask you very quickly. I know Lofty is going to come in a while, but two things. One, you mentioned what is the middle ground would satisfy. You mentioned the term middle ground. What do you mean by that? Had they said, well, okay, we realize we did wrong, we agree to fix our wrong, would you have not pursued with the lawsuit? Yeah. And also explain for me so the listeners could understand. the RICO lawsuit
Yeah.
is a RICO, it's a law for the US.
Yeah.
But to what extent that can extend outside the US jurisdiction to convict the person, the defendant name in the suit from St. Kitts and St. Lucia?
I mean, the defendants are banks, former prime minister, current minister of foreign affairs. I don't sue the country. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you. Yes,
Yeah.
I'm hearing you.
I do not sue the country because my principle is that the citizen of the country have been the victim of this criminality.
Yeah, but my question is, does that RICO law, would it apply to the citizen, not the citizen, but the individuals in St. Kitts?
It does. They are being sued. They are being sued. The citizen of the politician and the people involved are being sued and could be convicted. Absolutely.
Lofty, take it away.
Yes, indeed. Because I guess primarily, Mr. Martinez, is because, as you said before, as you alluded to before, the dollar, the US dollar is used primarily to do these transactions, right?
Look, it's not primary, it's almost entirely, okay?
Yeah.
They can do what they want, right? Let's be very cut and dry with those people, right? They have broke the law in their country, period, right? But in their country, nobody is going to make a move, okay? Nobody. So all those, we're doing the judicial review, but we're doing that to make a point.
Yeah.
Okay. What they're going to do is the silence, right? And they're going to go and have meetings like they just had with the Americans, Treasury. Why is the American Treasury meeting them? Why is the American Treasury concerned about that? Do you think that they don't read what I'm doing? Do you think that the US government and the State Department doesn't know who I am and what I'm doing? You think that they're not talking to me? Come on.
Oh, yeah.
Please, I'm the one that brought this matter. Okay? So right now it's like, okay, we're going to be good from now. Okay, but what about the money that the people didn't get? Which is one thing that I haven't mentioned in this conversation, but I've mentioned before. We are preparing a class action lawsuit as well, where regular citizens can join us to attack the banks that are responsible. Because let me explain to you something. The banks of the promoter in Dubai, right? The banks of the promoter in Asia, they receive that money. They should have checked that it was sold at the legal price. They screwed up, right? Their compliance officer didn't do the job. So we're going to sue as a class action lawsuit with regular people like you, and we're going to sue them and demand the entire amount of money that should have been paid, which is several $1 billion.
Yeah.
And I can tell you that since I've raised that lawsuit that we're preparing right now, I've received at least 1,000 people from the island that want to join the lawsuit.
Matter of fact, some people are already saying, "Count them in on the live feed."
Yeah, of course. Because let me tell you something. You see how ruthless I am with these people, right? I don't care whether it's prime minister or for me, you lied to me, you made me invest, you betrayed me, I'm coming after you. End of story, right? So I'm ruthless about this, right? So at the end of the day, I've lost, now I'm at 40 million, right? Because 35 interest, without the interest, I'm at 35, plus my legal costs, I spent $2 million already, US, huh? Now, what about the people? The people, if they raise the problem, it's like, oh, shut up, you don't know what you're talking about, all the silence, all the silence. Okay, government, you don't have to worry about us, right? We're going to organize ourselves, right? We have 1,000 people already from the Caribbean that want to join the class action lawsuit, and we're going to go after the banks and the promoter, okay, in a class action lawsuit. And you will see, we're not suing the government, we're not suing any officials, you know, it's going to be a class action lawsuit. And you're going to see how the banks, HSBC, Hang Seng Bank, and the bank in the Middle East, how are they going to like to be named in a lawsuit where their compliance office should have protected the people of the Caribbean, right? And I'm very happy that I'm going to be leading because I believe that we're going to be able to bring $100,000 US in each citizen that wants to join the lawsuit, you know. So let's, you know, I know where the money went, you know, please, you know, I know where the money went. I have the bank account, you know, enough with that. Oh, it's a program for the people. Yes, the country have benefited from this program, you know, but some people have benefited a lot more.
A lot
right?
more, indeed.
And if they didn't want to come to see in Washington, I can tell you, I'm repeating myself, they have in St. Lucia, out of the 13,000, 11,500 have been already sent file to their CIP office.
But they have not only benefited a lot more, you know, they have.
We are just about to take a break out of it.
Illegally.
Yeah.
That's the problem. That's the qualifier there. They have benefited illegally.
Yes.
And the one thing that they cannot undo, they can change the contract, redo the contract, pass any law they want in Parliament. The one thing that they cannot do, where I got them all, is on the money laundering to the US banking system and the corruption through the US banking system. That you cannot undo. You cannot tell the bank, hey, can you please change that transaction? You cannot do that, right? So I'm sorry to say, but I spent 2 years investigating that, and with 15 people, and I spent $2 million doing this, and we're feeling very strong.
You're feeling solid.
Hey, I don't feel weak. Do I look weak?
No. Folks, it is that time, 7 o'clock, a bang on the money. We are talking to Mr. Philip Martinez of MSR Media International. About that time, we take that much needed break at this time. Mr. Martinez, I'm going to play a song now, which will fit very nicely in the discussion we're having. It's a local Calypsonian in Dominica that he goes by the name of King Dice.
Yeah.
He sang that song and copped the crown with it. And he entitled that song "Bring the Money," or "Bring Money," and he's basically talking to Mr. Abdullah. That is the man from MMC that you mentioned a while ago. Basically asking him to bring the money back home to the Dominican people, so that the Dominican people can be beneficiaries of their money.
Yeah.
So let's take that break. We'll be right back in just a bit, and we'll take some of your calls soon thereafter. Let's do this.
Can you hear me?
Greetings, Mr. Abdullah. Salam alaikum. I'm singing to make you aware. Things are bad at home. Local treasury down here, it's empty. And you in charge of our treasury overseas. Over 6 billion and counting. And we the people down here scrunting. Never in our life before, in our domain. and our people so far. We facing a crisis here, so I bypassing leader. We suspect you don't like him anymore. Money, Mr. Abdullah, bring money.
Bring money, Mr. Abdullah. King Dice calls this one.
Lofty, can you hear me?
Folks, the numbers to call into the program, these numbers are scrolling across your screen as we speak. If you're just tuning in at this time, we're talking to Mr. Philip Martinez. We're talking to Mr. Philip Martinez here at this time. Yes, let's take
before
right here. We're gonna open up those lines in just a while. Callers are already calling.
All right.
Just hold your fire, callers, in just a bit. We're gonna take one more verse from King Dice and get back to live panel here and accommodate your calls. One more verse.
It's up to you, Mr. Abdullah. Salam alaikum. Corruption of citizens falling. Electoral reform. Problem in everybody. Anything workers can get their salary. No need for passport free.
Mr. Martinez, I think you want to say something?
Yes, before we take the calls. Am I on live now?
Yes, you're live, yes.
Yeah. Before you take the call, I really want to say that there are some very courageous people in those islands that have denounced that before. In St. Kitts, Mr. Dwyer Astephen has been an incredible man. And, you know, it's not easy to denounce something that's done by people that you know, on those small countries. The work of Lisa Joseph in DBS TV is to get to the bottom of it and to the truth is remarkable. And one thing I want to say is also, it's not easy to do what I'm doing. I'll tell you that right now. If I wanted the easy route, I would have done everything very quietly, the attack, and negotiate with those guys very quietly, and nobody would have ever known about it, right? But I think that it's fundamentally wrong. I believe that there is a crime of money laundering that has been committed through the US bank. I believe that due diligence has been overlooked by a fake due diligence company controlled by Galaxy. And I believe that the people of the Caribbean have been defrauded of billions of dollars. So, you know, but what I want to say is, you know, there is a lot of people, and especially in St. Lucia, I've seen an incredible support. I'm getting hundreds of messages of people that really welcome the informations. Because, you know, there is the other problem that nobody's talking about. It's the problem of demography. And demography is history. Let's never forget that. Right now, a country like St. Lucia is going to have 15,000 new citizens from China and from the Middle East, right? What happened if there is an international crisis and all those people move in? You have the same problem yourself in your country.
Yes, indeed.
Same problem.
And just to give credit to a man in Dominica, there are many of us in Dominica on the front line, and to add to that list, like Mr. Dwyer and others you mentioned, Mr. Lennox Linton in Dominica has been beating that drum for some time.
Well, he is actually the one that has contacted us, and he has kindly offered to prepare a affidavit, and he sent us a lot of documents that we are reviewing now. And he's, I mean, you can ask him yourself, but he's very excited to have people to join a class action lawsuit against the banks. Yes, so yes, he's been very vocal about it. But look, I also want to say something, right? Your prime minister, and I told him that when I spoke to him, did something very important in the past couple of months. He canceled 68 passports, right? It's not a lot, but it's a sign, right? And I came to Dominica, actually, a couple of years ago because we're thinking about doing movies in Dominica. So I met him, right? So we spoke since the beginning of the CIP crisis with the RICO case. And I said, listen, it's great that you've done that, but you have to open the gate, really. You have, and he said, we are investigating every passport. So we'll see.
We'll see, indeed.
We'll
All right,
see.
thank you, Martinez, for that information, indeed, as it pertains to the 68 passports revoked, and you're speaking to Roosevelt Skerritt right here.
Yeah.
We have a caller on the line. Caller, yes, good evening to you. Please make your point very succinct. And yes, welcome to Civic Vibes.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, Lofty. Good evening, Mr. Martinez. Alvin.
Hi.
Good evening.
First of all, let me thank Mr. Martinez for his presentation. Lofty, it is apparent, and that's something I said a few months ago, in Dominica, that this whole operation is an operation that is based on abusing it. It makes it easy for everybody to abuse the system. You understand? And the people who are, in the end, really getting abused are the citizens of those countries. And I'm happy that that is what has ignited his mission to find justice for the citizens, because the regular citizens are not getting a good value in that passport deal. You understand? What we're getting as countries, the projects that we're getting, they're nothing compared to the amount of monies and passports that are being sold. He talked a while ago about the consequence. One of the consequences, especially in Dominica, we have no constitutional arrangement around that CIP program. We have to have some sense of constitutional amendment so that these people can have economic rights, but not patriotic rights. See, we're a small country, even smaller than St. Kitts in terms of population, so we have to be double vigilant on how we arrange laws around this CIP thing. These people should not get automatic patriotic status in the country to be able to vote and to be able to get involved in these things. So all these conversations we need to have, you understand? So look at Portsmouth. We're getting ready to get raped again in Portsmouth with that fact, something that we can sell a few passports ourselves and build something way better than the garbage that these people end up come and build it for all the time. You understand? So I'm glad there's a civic action construct. I'm glad there's responsibility being asserted for. But I'm personally, as someone who, I'm not against passport selling. I think we should be doing it ourselves. But I'm telling you, the way the thing is there right now, we really have to call for a cessation, because if we don't take a pause and really investigate these programs, what is going to happen is their bad practice is going to destroy the program, and we're not going to have a chance to raise real developmental money on these programs because of that bad practice of these guys.
Yeah.
Peace and blessings.
Does he have a question for me, or?
No, he just made a comment. He just made an overall comment, explaining that the program in its current form is not in the best interest of the people.
I know, but
we have to guard ourselves against that.
Yes, but nobody wants to talk. The people in power in the various countries, they want to do their own thing. And more important, they are keeping the same bad actors in position. The same promoters, the same sales agents, the same lawyers that have been involved in this crime are still involved.
Yeah.
So
and you're right. You're right on that, because you said you spoke with the Prime Minister of Dominica and they revoked 60-something passport. But he didn't go one step further and said, well, the folks who gave those passports, this is what we have done, or this is what the action we have taken.
But
the people who gave these people, they didn't do their work, gave them the wrong, undersell,
listen, I give him the credit that so far, at least he started. And I told him, right, that if it wants to be credible, a lot more has to be done in revoking passport, right? But let me ask you a question, right? Why would I trust any type of MOA, MOU, whatever crap they have now invented, right? Which is good on the surface, when it's the same players that have bleeding the people of the Caribbean for the past 10 years. And I'm supposed to trust this? No. So I think that we have to let the RICO case and the evidence of money laundering. Money laundering is a crime in the United States. It's a crime, right? Let's get to the end of that process and let's see where we are at the end of the year. And in terms of recouping the money for the people, well, we're giving them an option. They can join us in an action lawsuit, not the RICO case, to go after the people that have done that.
Okay, let me ask you, Mr. Martinez, for the benefit of the folks who are online listening now, and so far in all what you have said, can you make it as simple as you can so that the average Dominican or Kittian listening will understand exactly what you are hoping to achieve and how the RICO case and all of that in simple layman form? Just tell us, what is it you think the government of St. Kitts did, which is unlawful?
I've explained that already. I'm not going to repeat that. But, okay, I don't think it's normal that the people, that the actors that have created that legal financial atomic bomb are still involved in the CBI industry with the country involved. Period.
Yeah,
okay?
But what? Yeah.
So what does it mean? That means that they have to be blacklisted. Whoever has sold passport under the legal price should be blacklisted in the OECS. Period. And by the way, don't worry about it. They've made tens of millions of dollars, if not more. So they don't care to be blacklisted. They can move on and do something them with their life, right? Every processing agent that have allowed that and closed their eyes should be blacklisted, right? That's the very first point, right? Otherwise, there is no punishment. Okay? Number two, the people that have not paid the legal price, a notice from the OECS should be done. They don't have to call the government. They can call the sales agent directly. You know, the sales agent, they took as much money as you did, right? In average, the sales agent makes $25,000, which is what you guys get, right? Let the sales agent clean that. I spoke to one of them last night, right? And he said, well, if we have to do that, I'm just going to close the store and disappear. That's what they're going to do. They know what they've done. The reason, Mr. Alvin, the reason I have so many information is because some people have settled with me already of the sales agent out of court, right? And gave me all the contract and all the invoices, you know, and gave me the testimony that I need to show that everybody was involved. You see what I'm saying? So number one, I'm sorry, all the bad actors should be blacklisted. Okay. Number two, asking the applicant that paid under the legal price to pay the difference directly to the treasury, okay, or to the people. Me personally, I would say that it should be a pot divided for the people, but that's my opinion. But, you know, but at least to the treasury, okay? And three, that there is no more insane amount of unit giving to a promoter that allows them to do the fraud again. You see what I'm saying? Of 13,000 units in St. Lucia to Galaxy, of which they've already processed, they've already sent the file of 11,500 to the CIP. I have it in writing. In writing, I have it. Okay? So that's it. And if those countries this is something that can be negotiated in an hour. But you have people of influence that don't want that to happen because they have used those programs as a cash cow for their personal benefit, right? So it's the strength of the prime minister to come to the table and to have a discussion. I don't think it's going to happen at all because some of them have allowed this to go for too long, and ultimately, look, you guys are already suffering. You've already lost Bank of America, right? It's okay, believe me, it's okay. They don't care. I'm sure that the guys at MMC have found already a way to keep selling and to sell it in a different currency. But how are you going to get the money? How are you going to get the money? So that's what it is. It's reason. It's country versus personal interests.
Okay. Lofty, you want to jump in?
Yes, indeed. Yeah, indeed. Mr. Martinez, a question has been on my mind for some time since we started that conversation, and I want to punch it at you now.
Yeah.
I took note that you said 2 years thereabout in terms of investigating these countries.
15 people.
Would you dare give us an idea? I know there are certain details you cannot release because that matters before the court, although Dominica is not named, the Dominican actors are not named. But in case of Dominica as a country, what can you tell us in terms of that program? Good or bad?
Listen, I have a rule. I don't talk about what I don't have the physical evidence in my hand.
Okay.
Right? All I know is that what have been Mr. Lennox, Linton, sorry, has sent me a file and affidavit. He has a lawyer in Washington, D.C. that wants to meet. Me, so far, I focus my investigation with Galaxy and Lescan, who operated in St. Kitts and in St. Lucia, right? So what I know is really what I hear from insiders of the market, right? Which is that you have given an extraordinary amount of passport to MMC. But again, I don't like to talk about things that I don't know for a fact.
So my follow-up question to you, sir, would be what would it take for Dominica now to come under such, legal gun like St. Lucia and St. Kitts? What would it take from people like you?
Well, I think that, I think that your prime minister, now that you've lost Bank of America and you've lost the UK visa, and he knows what I'm doing, believe me, I spoke to him. I think he understands the gravity of the problem and is very concerned about the banking correspondent bank relationship. The question is he concerned enough to really be playing hardball with the people that didn't follow or respect the law of your country? That's the question, right?
Okay, and if he's not serious about that, based on where things are in Dominica, I'm not going into more details.
Yeah, no, but I tell you honestly, I do not believe that's going to happen. I don't believe. I'm telling you, I like Drew. I like Prime Minister Drew. Okay, I like him, right? But I gave the guy 185 contract in court with the invoice that the people paid half the price. I gave him the all evidence, including the WhatsApp messages of his Attorney General. Did you do anything? No. All they're saying to their people is, we're investigating. What's to investigate? I've already done the investigation. It's me that found out that Galaxy owned a fake due diligence company. right? Even more, they created a company in Macau with the name of the country citizen program, SKIPA. Can you imagine? The Chinese created a company that has the same name than the country. Now, people have to take their destiny in their own hands, right? So all those MOU, it's nice, it's sweet, it's to show the EU and the US Treasury, we're going to be nice. Accountability for what happened, not going to happen. Telling you it's not going to happen, right? But if you want to ask financial compensation for what has been done to you as a citizen by joining the class action lawsuit, you don't need the government for that.
Okay. So just to punch it at you again, just to get it cleared up. MSR, the company that did all this kind of good work for on behalf of the citizens of the region.
Yeah.
Are you so inclined on, if you saw anything in the future where Dominica is concerned in terms of its program, would you be so inclined to go down that route, the RICO route, and pull in some actors where nefarious characters are in that program in Dominica?
What you're trying to get me at is, will I go after MMC and include MMC,
whoever it is, sir, whoever it is,
and the RICO lawsuit? Okay, so I don't talk about things that when I go to the DBS TV in St. Lucia, I'm so strong because I've got.
You don't count your chickens before they hatch.
Exactly. Now, Lennox sent me a big file, affidavit, and he wants. I will look at it, but as of now, it's not the plan. The plan is to, because listen, in St. Lucia, you got a lot of people that are supporting the position of the present government, and that are really calling me names and stuff like that. And that's it. But believe me, when they see that the others are going to get money because of the class action lawsuit, they'll be the first one that will want to join the class action lawsuit. Listen, I have made my peace with the fact that nobody at government level wants to have in the Caribbean, wants to really open the books, right? So that's it. Let's forget about it. Let's not ask anymore. Let's go and attack the people that have felt that are responsible, the banks, the promoters, and you will see that then let's not involve the politics.
Yeah. I also took note, Antigua, during your investigation, you said that you could not find, you did not say there were none, but you could not pinpoint any quote-unquote bad actor.
I have not, but of course, as soon as you say that, you receive emails and files from people.
Okay.
So listen, me personally, I don't talk about. I can tell you that we have identified and contacted a company in Grenada, right, a Chinese company that also undersell, and we have. We have contacted them, and we told them that they are most likely going to be having legal consequences of their action. So Grenada is going to, not Grenada as a country, but a company operating in Grenada is definitely breaking the law. But they've done that for years. And suddenly they're like, okay, we won't break the law anymore. Okay, but my friend, what about the billions that have disappeared? What happened to that? What happened to the money laundering that went to the US banking system? You want us to forget about that? What planet are you on?
Let me ask you, Mr. Martinez, in terms of the corresponding banking relationship, and in particular Bank of America, does St. Kitts or St. Lucia are they experiencing a similar situation like Dominica as it relates to corresponding bank relationship? Well, where does it stand now in St. Kitts, for example, as it relates to the corresponding bank?
I can't comment on that because you have to understand, we only received the bank. We fought for 6 months in court to get the Bank of America transaction, right? And we received them only 2 weeks ago. The other banks we received before. And, we are going to every dollar, and it's going to take us at least another 2-3 months to understand, how creative those people were. But we focused already on Les Khan, and that's why we were able to make a press release to show how much money he has made as a public servant. As a public servant. But you see, the problem is, so I'll give you an example, right? I was talking to a gentleman Saturday, right? And I'm not going to say, but I saw that he received a huge amount of money, right? And I told him, I said, listen, I don't understand what's that money for. And he explained to me that he's an attorney for a country of the OECS and that he was making a payment for. So, we have to go to every transaction, and that's going to take 3 months. But one thing for sure, right? Because of the lack of decisiveness of the countries trying to hide what has happened, instead of cleaning it, you see what I'm saying? That could lead to serious problems, such as the one that you have, where you lost your corresponding bank, right? That's where we are.
Yes, indeed. Alvin, it's 7:30. Let us take some comments from the live feed whilst we proceed here, because these people too, they are part of the conversation. There's lots of utterances there. Obviously, some for, some against, but it's all part of the conversation. Adelaide Paul is writing here, Dominicans need to fight for their country and monies. Yeah. Mr. Bernard Allen says, tell Mr. Martinez that Roosevelt says, open quote, I run things and nothing happens without his approval. What about mydominicatradehouse.com?
But I think that's what I said. I have completely accepted the fact that no cooperation for accountability will come from these countries. Fine, I don't need it. We're going to do our own action and get our money ourselves. And whoever wants to join can join us. They don't, it's okay. But we have already 1,000 people that are joining us.
Yeah, that's one of the questions on the feed. Folks are asking if they want to be a part of that class action lawsuit, what they need to do or who do they need to contact?
Well, first, it's going to cost them no money, right? Because we will cover the legal costs with our lawyers. But we're going to, until November, we're busy in adding new defendant to the RICO lawsuit. So I would say that at the end of the year, we're going to put a website where the people can sign off, put their name, address, email, and then they will be contacted by the law firm that will explain to them
the details.
The details, yeah. So I would say that before the end of the year, we will have, and that's something that I've discussed with Mr. Chastenay and others about putting a website so that we have a perfect countdown of people that wants to join the action lawsuit, and that doesn't involve government. We'll go after the banks.
And if I understand you clearly, that class action lawsuit would be a Dominican citizen, St. Lucia, Grenada, any one of the islands where that CBI program is being undertaken.
Where I have the evidence
Okay.
that the law was broken, right?
Okay.
And I have evidence. Listen, I have not looked at. All I know about Dominica is huge amount of passports were given. You lost your corresponding bank. I mean, you know, if Bank of America decided to stop, is that
a red flag? It's a red flag.
I mean, it's not a red flag. It's the
It's red
forest.
flags. It's more than one flag.
It's the forest on fire. Okay, the UK visa is a problem. You know, so whatever. But let's see how things evolve before the end of the year.
True. From the live feed, Mr. Ian Calderon is asking you a question here. It says, sir, can you ask Mr. Martinez who are the defendants in the RICO case from St. Lucia end?
I can't at this stage. I know that they're trying to. Right now, it's Mr. McLeod Emmanuel, the head of the CIP. And look, the problem is that here's the thing, right? You have to be able that if you're putting someone in the RICO case, that you can show that they broke the law in the US, right? And for me, I'll give you an example, right? The lawyers, big lawyers in St. Lucia, right, that are very intelligent people, they've closed their eyes on the fraud, right? Because like I said before, they're all going to say, oh, I didn't know. All right, so let me explain to you very quickly the I didn't know process. So a promoter sells a citizenship of the country in Dubai, right? And he sends the information, a sales agent, and he sends the file to the lawyer in St. Lucia, right? The first thing that I would do, that I have the legal obligation as a lawyer to make sure that it complies with the law in my country, is, was the amount fully paid? It's a simple question, right? Can you show me the invoice to the client? And can you show me the wire transfer of $200,000 from the client to the escrow account? Once I have that, I'm happy to process the application, right? Everybody has forgot to ask that question because everybody knew that they were underselling, right? So suddenly, Philippe Martinez is coming and saying, people, you broke the law. You broke the law because you didn't do your job in your country. Now you can. Now this is your are you going to be a disbar or it's not my job? That's in their country. So now we have to make sure that we can prove that they're part of the conspiracy that laundered money to the US banking system, which is what we're working on, right? And I have to tell you that unfortunately for them, and I hate, but you know, God is on my side. Because like I said, not only we have the sales agent, because you see, people understand the gravity of the problem. So a lot of people prefer to be on my side than to be against me. So a lot of their friends and partners have already given us the information that they knew, right? And that they closed their eyes on purpose. So right now, all these wonderful established lawyers are very confident. When they're going to see the documents that I have and the testimony that I have of their friends and partners, they're going to have sleepless night. So as much as I would like to respond to the question of Mr. Calderon, we want to go to the analysis to see how, some of those people are claiming diplomatic immunity because the countries have been good in general to give diplomatic passport to people that don't deserve one, right? So it's about proving how they broke the law in the US, and the way to do that is through the money laundry. These people are part of a money laundry through US corresponding bank conspiracy that we have proof and that we have evidence. And that's it.
Yes, indeed. I saw a comment a while ago. I just want to paraphrase that comment, or question to you rather, Mr. Martinez. Basically, the person was asking about to ask you to explain the situation where a country loses its corresponding bank and the significance thereof.
Okay, first of all, I do not believe that American banks are irresponsible and are going to cut off completely the Caribbean. Okay, it's called de-risking. I don't think that's going to happen, right? But if you take the example of Dominica, right, the Bank of America has stopped the CBI transaction, from what I understand, and especially from that company that's the main player in your country, right? But where it becomes difficult is that even other business, right? And I spoke to a very good friend of mine who has a business in Dominica. He sent money to Dominica for something that's not related to the CBI. And the money took a month to arrive, right? So imagine that you are a retiree or living in Dominica or whatever, and you want to receive your money or your pension from the US or whatever, or send money to the US, and it takes a month to receive the money. So the consequences of what these people have done is endless. So to answer the question to you, I do not believe that American banks are going to leave the Caribbean as corresponding bank, right? But I believe that if the government are a little bit responsible and blacklist all the bad actors, I think that things can be worked out. But it's, I think, listen, here's what I can tell you. It's going to get a lot worse before it gets better.
True. In terms of, just before Alvin comes in, sir, in terms of the ramifications of the RICO case itself, not the class action lawsuit, I know St. Lucia and St. Kitts, they are squarely under the gun, read that matter. Mm-hmm. But what would you see in terms of the possible repercussions for other countries involved, Dominica, Grenada, etc.?
Exactly what I've just explained. And also, I have to tell you that going to the bank transaction, we find a transaction that involve other countries. And we're like, oh, why is that country involved? Mm-hmm. And why is that person getting money? When you receive bank transaction, you receive a web of door opening, right? And I can tell you that we have received transactions that involve other CBI, OCS country, other than St. Lucia and St. Kitts. And right now we're investigating those transactions.
Yeah, indeed. Any other information, so in terms of just how the 2-year investigation, whilst your company was at that situation, how difficult was it then to pull off information, get information, and to where you are now? To just kind of walk us back through that process.
Well, at first it was basically me alone, for the first 3-4 months, and my staff in St. Kitts, who are American people. And then things got faster when we brought him in the company a former U.S. Government officer, expert in intelligence and counterterrorism. Because let's not forget that one of the tape, two of the tape of Les Khan that we have as evidence in the RICO case, he suggested, one of the tape, that that the head of the company is possibly a Chinese spy, which opens another can of worm. So once we brought that person in, we became more efficient in getting and collecting and the information and talking to people and stuff like that. And frankly, also our lawyers in St. Kitts, Damien Kelsick, and our lawyers in the US, Miller Chevalier, who are expert in money laundering. So they told us where to look for Foreign Corruption Act. Listen, Foreign Corruption Act is a serious crime in the United States, huh? You know. So anyway.
Yeah, indeed. We know where we were talking about a situation in terms of our passports in the region that is now. When we hear about the sales of passport, that situation has been sort of bedeviled by corruption. You going through that process, so have you been, sort of contacted and tried to be bribed in the process to say, Mr. Martinez, we can provide you with this, we can provide you with that, and just shut up, just let that thing go away, and stop bothering us in the region? Have any attempts been made in that department? You don't have to call names, but
No, yes, I can tell you, yes, absolutely. But I don't want government money. I'm not suing the government, right? I'm suing the people, and there's going to be a lot more added, that have committed the crime, right? I mean, come on. You want to commit the crime, benefit from the crime, and then you want the government to bail you out? No. Sometimes I see people saying that a lawyer in the US costs $1,000 an hour. No, it doesn't cost $1,000. It costs $2,500 an hour, US, right? So it's like, hey, you did something bad. You did. I have the evidence, right? And then you want to settle with public money? No, I'm saying no. Thank you very much. I don't want it. If you want to pay me with your money that's different. We can talk, And believe me, we're talking, the people that have benefited from that fraud, we're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars, huh?
Yeah. One goes by the name of Lucas Samuel is making a point here, and I want you to expound on that if you mind. He says ECCU, ECCB, these are some of the regulators in our country. He's making a point, why so quiet on this matter, the matter we're discussing tonight? The CIP program, he says, issue is an OECS CARICOM OAS matter. This scandal involves multiple island states in this currency union.
Because the number one, it should be, but the way they have done it is that they're having meeting with the US Treasury and with the European Union, and they're going to create a body, which is nice, and they're going to make a nice of beautiful laws to tell people that they're going to be good from now. Again, all that is lovely, wonderful, bravo, I applaud you, okay? What about the crime that are committed still today? What about the money that have been robbed from the people for the past decade? Nobody wants to talk about that? Don't worry, we're not going to talk to you anymore. We're tired of trying to talk to you. We are talking to the people that are concerned by money laundering to the US banking system. That's why. Because listen, everybody knows what happened. Everybody knows. But they just do put their hand in the sand thinking that I will die from a heart attack tomorrow. That's it.
Yeah. As we're about to bring this program to a wrap, folks, we are talking to Mr. Philip Martinez, the CEO of MSR Media International. basically filed that matter in the U.S. court. Is it in Florida?
Yeah, federal court. Yeah, in Florida.
Yes.
Yeah.
When is that case supposed to start in earnest based on your information?
Listen, right now, the defendant are going to file a motion to say that they're diplomat. So, for instance, Mr. McLeod is going to say in St. Lucia that he's a diplomat and that immune immunity. So that fight is at 6 months. I don't think it's going to be on for 2 years. But okay. I believe that, see, because I'm attacking them on every aspect. I believe that what we're doing with we're preparing a list to FinCEN, the Financial Crime Division in the United States, with all the parties involved in the Caribbean, not just in St. Kitts, with information. So, because I don't believe that, I believe that those people should not be allowed to use the U.S. corresponding banking system. So I think that things are going to get a lot worse in the next 2-3 months before it gets better. So I think that all of that is going to be finished by the end of the year, and then the recovery and how to clean everything will start in 2025.
Yeah. Someone is making a point here, and I just need you to respond, sir.
Yeah.
I would like to see, that person is saying here, 40 lane, yeah. I would like to see politicians take jail time for wrongdoing. Is that your intention, Mr. Martinez, to see people behind bars, as that person is suggesting, for their wrongdoing?
Yes. Inevitably, absolutely. But I'm not the government. I believe that the people of the Caribbean, it's not I believe. I know that they've been defrauded, and but I'm not the government. I cannot. I'm not the government, but I found the element because money laundering is a problem. Huh? Money laundering. You cannot, they can do all contract that they want to change, how many allocation and all that. Money laundering, I have the transaction. Okay? Done. So it's not my intention, but if they're guilty of something, and I believe that some of them are guilty, I think they should go to jail. Absolutely. But I have no power of doing so. All I can do is to keep doing, providing information and evidence. That's it.
Yeah, true. Let me just read 2 more comments and then ask Alvin to come in before we bring it to a wrap. Jefferson Winston writes, sir, is a web of corruption in the Caribbean with the CBI.
Mm-hmm.
Many government officials are involved, he says. Sir, you're very diplomatic, so I understand and respect your point. Someone from St. Lucia is writing here in terms of reminder. Guys, don't forget to tune in to Lisa Joseph and Dominica's Dr. Fontaine at 8 p.m. tonight on DBS TV St. Lucia. Thank you very much, my friend, for the reminder. When we're done here, I will tune across. Brother Alvin, any further comments from you before we bring it to a wrap?
No, yes, Lofty. I mean, this issue is a very, very complex issue. No doubt about that. And I agree with Mr. Martinez in terms of how we have, sought to explain it to us. It's corruption at that level, and with the amount of monies involved. We're not talking about thousands of dollars. We're talking about millions and billions of dollars. And even the players themselves involved, attorneys, politicians, head of CBIs, agents. I mean, it's a huge web, and it's not a web that can be easily maneuvered. And I think part of the problem, as he rightly said, is that the inability, not just the inability to talk, because like you said, Lennox Linton has expounded on that. for over the years, the last several years. It's to be able to get into there and pinpoint where the crime and the corruption has occurred. And like he said, he was only able to do that when he brought in some of the experts that he mentioned from the US, the attorneys on island, the attorneys from out of the country, because it's a very, very highly skillful and technical case. Because these guys, bear in mind, Lofty, they do this corruption, they have the monies, they have all this monies at their disposal. They can easily find ways of hiding and doing those things. But I think what the listeners must take away from what has been said so far, and I like that point that he's making, the public officials must be held accountable. The ones who actually did this underselling and this corruption. And now that the banks are involved, not involved from the point of view of part of it, but the fact that this money had to go through a bank. And Bank of America now can say, hey guys, these are the documents that we have. This is where we're showing the monies that will pass through. And that can be looked at and say, okay, I saw Martinez got $20 million. What was that $20 million for?
No, I didn't get. Let's choose
maybe
another
maybe Lofty. Lofty got 20 million. So you have to say, well, Bank of America will now say, well, Lofty, what was that $20 million for? We saw 3 weeks again, you got another 20 million.
Yeah.
Then you get another 50 million. So I think the takeaway from that is, and I know folks might be saying, well, is he speaking the truth or is he out to get somebody? I think the point remains is that we were able to zero in on that web. We will wait to see how it unfolds in terms of the RICO case, the judicial and the class action lawsuit. So I want to say thank you, sir, for sharing with us what you've shared.
Yeah, and, before we say thank you to him, Alvin, someone is insisting that Mr. Although I told them he spoke about it earlier, but just for at least one or two people, understanding better of the matter.
Yeah.
How does a film company get involved in the CBI issue? What was his company's involvement in St. Kitts and St. Lucia? And what did he lose and he now wants to recoup? Can you just shed some light on that for us?
Of course.
Gone down there already, but just for these people.
Well, like any CBI promoters, right? But listen, maybe that guy that asked the question can go back to the beginning of the program and watch it.
That is exactly what I told him.
On a replay, right? But bottom line, we bought a hotel like any real estate promoter. We made 10 movies and that's it. Look, I just want to go back on so if that guy that asked the question wants to educate himself, he should go back to the beginning of the program.
Yeah,
I'm not going to repeat myself. But Alvin, the battle of this problem and the resolution will come from the U.S. court, both for the RICO and when we file the class action lawsuit. And whoever has committed a crime of money laundering will have to deal with whoever he has to deal with. You see what I'm saying? So the battle, it's in America. It's not, believe me, Bank of America right now, they are aware. Since 2 weeks, they know we have been very clear about the corruption money received by certain individuals.
Let me just ask very quickly. I know you said you met with Prime Minister Skerritt.
I met him 2 years ago because a friend of mine took him there because he wanted me to see if I could make some movies there. And I stayed at the Park Hyatt and I visited, not the Park Hyatt, the Kempinski. And I visited also that beautiful small luxury resort in Dominica.
Okay. And you all discussed the CBI program at that time?
No. We discussed about possibly making some movies there, but I think that you had a big flood that day, so it was just we didn't go into details.
Okay, all right.
But we have spoken a couple of times
After that,
in the past month.
Okay.
Because
about the program itself.
About the program and about the RICO case, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, Mr. Philip Martinez, on behalf of the many folks glued, they are riveted to their seats at this time. We at Civic Vibes, we want to thank you for, giving us some time of your Sunday afternoon, 2 hours that is, and just coming and shed more light, bringing some more awareness to the situation as it relates to the CBI programs in the region, and in particular, that case that is filed. So thank you very, very much. Let us leave that line of communication open so that if needs be, we can call back on you sometime to expound or shed some light on more matters as that case continue to develop.
Thank you for your time and thank you for the invitation. I appreciated the dialogue and always happy to bring awareness and help people to understand what's going on.
Thank you indeed. Do have a blessed night.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
All right, take care. All the best.
All right, Alvin, that leaves you and I 2 minutes to wrap it up so that the people can go enjoy the rest of their evening.
Well, Lofty, as I've said before, I don't want to sound as an old record or repeating myself. This is not an easy case to undertake. And quite frankly, I don't even think we have the resources within our jurisdiction. And by that, I mean local in Dominica for someone to challenge this CBI program and all what has gone on there, as well as even in St. Kitts or St. Lucia. I mean, you're talking about a web of corruption that involves our politicians, that involves Chinese, that involves Abdullah, whatever his name is, Asia, Dubai. I mean, this is huge. So it really had to take someone like Mr. Martinez who have access to the resources and the connection to be able to dig into that. So what I would say to our listeners and folks on the live who may have their doubts one way or the other and feel, well, hey, Mr. Martinez may have his axe to grind or whatever. Let's just see how it unfolds, because as we speak now, there is a RICO case filed in the U.S. courts in Florida. And the courts wouldn't just take a matter that they consider frivolous. The matter would go through the judicial system. As he said, they have evidence from Bank of America. The evidence will be presented, and then the courts will agree and come to a conclusion whether, in fact, they believe that corruption or money laundering occurred, and who were the parties involved. And I think he needs to be commended for taking that bold stand. I've said so on this program before that evil thrive when good people stand by, see evil, say nothing, do nothing. And I think that is a part of the problem we have confronting us in the region, that these politicians have amassed themselves with those monies and they feel that they can be protected by that wealth that they have amassed. And we, the people, remain ignorant and unable to do anything. So I commend him for sharing with us what we share. And I would urge the folks to go online and do their research as well on the suit, the RICO suit, read about it, follow it through. And hopefully at the end of the day, we come out better as a country. That is St. Kitts, St. Lucia, Grenada, and Dominica.
Thank you.
Because God is so silent, man taking full advantage. So now and then examples are sent to emphasize this message. As a man's soul shall he reap, whether or not he believes in it. Nobody can protect you when karma comes back to get you. All man like to do is wrong, abuse his power and his position until his karma comes around. Big man like Saddam, Chavez and Gaddafi, just be begging for mercy. Hey, hey. but tomorrow you don't karma coming. Karma comes to kings and powerful men. It's a natural justice thing. No one is exempt. So when a prime minister becomes a kidnapper, then one day he travel and you hear him missing. Guess what? Karma coming.
King Bob says karma is coming. Thank you very much. Those of you still on the live feed, those of you stayed discuss with us tonight for 2 hours. Very, very informative program indeed. We had a full house tonight, a bumper crowd. Thank you to my brother in St. Lucia, who basically helped us promote that program for tonight. Remember, Dr. Thompson Fontaine is on with our folks in St. Lucia starting right about now.
When you still in your neighbor's things, you don't plant it.
So thank you very much, folks, for eyes and ears each and every time.
How come you're stuck? It's karma.
See you guys next week, Sunday, same time, same place.
In your position by supporting
Mr. Philip Martinez, the CEO of MSR Media International.
But in the end,
thank you very, very much, my brother, for tonight's program.
Yeah, go with it. Now you wondering
and what would the program be without you? Yes, you.
So when we're doing evil things, karma.
So yes, thank you very much.
You escaping karma coming. You win your case with the best lawyer, karma coming.
So on behalf of Alvin Thomas and the Civic Vibes crew, we bid you good night. Bye-bye. We love you.
Karma comes to kings, even the lowest of men. It's a natural justice thing. No one is exempt. So when a police officer brutalizing a protester, the day he take off that uniform not protecting him, guess what? Karma coming. Boom, 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 boom. Is doing wrong, you defend him, you even join him, you expect him to do good to you when bad is all he knows to do. So in all this evil going wrong, life holds one consolation: no one gets away with wrong, nothing new under the sun. Men who chase after power and wealth, who think they're gods unto themselves, when even the biggest of fools know that in this life, empty you come, you stay for a while and you better do what's right, cause you know it's empty you'll go. So tell the cops and the police, karma coming. Those who dispense selective justice, tell the bias president, one day soon he stood with them, karma coming. Hey, karma comes to kings, popes and presidents. It's a natural justice thing. No one is exempt. So when a political party, through deceit and bribery, staying in power just to keep people suffering, guess what? Karma coming. All those who think they have power, karma coming. Any minute, any hour, karma coming. You win your case with the best lawyer, karma coming. No, for sure it is not over, karma coming. Karma comes to kings, even the lowest of men. It's a natural justice thing. Say what? Karma coming. Keep RICO, the freedom man.